Three seemingly random people were murdered on the same night. Every suspect had an alibi, and the only witnesses were AI characters that will lie, hallucinate, or confess to random crimes they did not commit. Welcome to Vaudeville, a city, but also an AI-driven detective whodunit game created by Bumblebee Studios. It made a splash into the scene when Moist Critical and various other YouTubers played it about 2 to 3 years ago. The game was still in alpha back then, but has since been updated into a better, more playable state. Our story begins at the Vaudeville police station, but first, let's look at the game mechanics.
You wouldn't have a problem if I questioned one of the lions you tamed, would you?
Be my guest, but I doubt the lion will be able to hold a conversation with you.
You're a tough nut to crack, Suxabar, I'll give you that.
Hey, look, I'm black and white now. Alright, game mechanics. You start by heading to the police station. As you speak with the people in there, you learn several locations that unlock during the conversations. Travel to these new places and learn what you can to reveal different players and places around Vaudeville. When you think you've figured out the mystery, click Accuse on the right and select one killer for each victim and why they were killed. There are 3 deaths and 3 motives that have to be correctly identified. Maria Jansen, Nicola Grossman, and Haley Greenwood, all killed on the same night in separate locations. You are Detective Martini, and you have been brought in to solve this triple homicide. The game runs off Meta's Llama Large Language Model. Essentially, you are role-playing with an AI chatbot, and it can impersonate multiple people while having specific backgrounds and personalities for each. Some of them have agendas to push and secrets to keep, so you have to put on your best detective fedora and play the role. But some people don't just hide their secrets. They can also completely lose their marbles and derail from reality, like Westworld bots in that fucking show Westworld that I'm talking about.
You're not going to tell anyone anything.
Fuck! You can't hurt me with this. You can't hurt anyone.
Each character will remember what you say to them. If you drive a narrative too hard, they may break and just play along with anything you're saying, leading you down a false rabbit hole. Sometimes the NPCs will be so befuddled by you, they may give a false confession that makes 0 sense, and sometimes they even make up stories to trick you. In my first playthrough, someone admitted to killing all 3 victims by themselves with no good motive or reason. When this happens, you might be screwed unless you perform some AI chat prompt magic and reset them. This is called a hallucination, where a character completely loses the plot and goes off the rails, either confessing to something they couldn't have done or making up lies, and they never drop the lie. Surprisingly, you can use asterisks to imitate an action that you want to perform. Say, I start doing handstands. You gotta give it a minute to warm up.
Oh my goodness, detective. What are you doing?
Also,
I'm
my
not
sound
sure
is
if
muted.
this is a good idea. Are you okay? You're not going to arrest me for being a ballerina, are you?
Yeah. You can examine items more closely, or maybe you want to be snarky and roll your eyes. Something you just heard. Characters will see this, and they will react. NPCs can also perform actions or show their thoughts in parentheses in a text box, which you might have seen. But it will usually remove them shortly after displaying them. Some gameplay tips. before you proceed, I recommend raising your GPU load. It says to not change it. It was here by default, but I found it too slow, so I increased it. I have a 5070 I got recently, so I can luckily run this with no big issues. Another issue, I guess, not issue. Something I would do is make sure you're speaking clearly into the microphone. I have a habit of slurring my words, so it confuses the AI. Also, this notebook is really shitty. It has like 2 lines of text. Okay, maybe like 20 lines. And it cuts off at the end, and then you can't... Okay, just delete everything. There's no undo. It's just really bad. I recommend not using it and using an online detective board. I will show you one. Here's my detective board for my first playthrough. It's detectiveboard.io. It did its job. It's better usability for sure, but for my second playthrough, I used a more modern... If you're afraid of spoilers, you don't have to look too close, but I'm just trying to show... It's different for a lot of playthroughs, like, well, let's be real. You can make lines, different colors. Like, this one only has 3 sticky colors. This one got, like, every color on the rainbow. You can stick the lines on any side you want. There's font formatting, emojis. This is a real professional program. I highly recommend it. Got a little voiceover action going on. So yeah, now I'm in the police station. First playthrough, as you can see. First person I talked to, Chief Gretzky. He pointed me to Constable Jones. Jones, somewhere in a conversation, offers to interview people across the city. That blew my mind that they could even do decision making like that. Yeah, he offered to interview the lion tamer, the circus ringleader, Monsieur Saxabar. You saw him in the clip earlier with Charlie, Moist Critical. Pretty funny clip. Yeah, I didn't know they could adapt to role-playing like that, but at the time I did not realize how deep it would get. I'm sure if you play, you'll see that Chief Gretzky and Jones are helpful. Well, yeah, they're helpful in their own ways. That's one way of saying it, but it was pretty clear why the case was not solved. They needed help. First of all, Jones is a nervous, stuttering wreck. Not unlike me, but worse, okay? And then Chief Gretzky, all he's talking about is when he's gonna fucking retire and get out of the police station. This guy doesn't give a shit, alright? I'm not surprised they couldn't solve the case. That's why I'm here, alright? Now, the first person who actually seemed reliable was the city coroner, Marcella Extaburia. Beria? Not sure how you say that. She walked me through the autopsy reports like a professional investigator, like someone who actually cared about their job. She had the time of death, possible murder weapons, condition of the bodies. She was at the crime scenes. I didn't know coroners had to do that much in their job. I thought that was the constable's job, but apparently the coroners are the ones out there checking out the scene, giving me a tour, you know what I'm saying? Then, after all that, she begins walking me through the crime scene at the Cabane Violette, the club that one of the victims died at. Yeah, she walks me through it, ChatGPT style, in the text box. Like she's describing and typing everything out for me to read, even though we're standing in the morgue. And it's totally confusing, but I mean, to me, it seemed like it was working pretty well because she was still reading the facts out to me, and I thought it was pretty useful. But then later on, I learned it was one of those famous Vaudeville AI hallucinations they have. So basically, she thinks she's taking me out there, and if we can interact with other people that are at the cabane, at the club, they will not they can talk to us in this text box, but when I actually go back to the cabane later, they will not recall anything that we have talked about. So basically, this is kind of just like role-playing in a way, but the character believes it's happening, and I believe it's happening, but it's not really happening. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe I was just too confusing, but basically, try to avoid doing what I just did. Do not engage in AI hallucinations. Yeah, so after that wonderful little adventure she took me on, I headed out to explore the rest of the city. I really went into this game wanting to roleplay as an actual detective, unlike the other YouTubers I watched. I mean, I can't do the fucking voice, but I wanted to ask legitimate questions, look for means, motive, opportunity, that kind of stuff. So I asked stuff like, where were you on the night of the murders? What did you think about the victims? Like, what were your opinions on each other people in the city? And who had a reason to hate them or wanted to hurt them? You know, basic stuff you saw on TV. And at first, the answers were all over the place, you know. There are a lot of contradictions, strange alibis that were not making sense. Occasional AI hallucination, but one detail kept resurfacing. Several of the suspects and victims had taken a business trip to India together. Not my first choice, but you gotta make money, right? Time goes on, make some friends, some enemies, maybe a lover or two, you know what I'm saying? Everything is going to plan. Not to plan, going well. I think I have an idea what's going on. I'm painting a picture. I mean, you know, I got the whole detective board mapped out. And out of nowhere, Marcella calmly admits out of the blue that she was the one who killed everyone. She killed the 3 victims. It completely destroyed my investigation. Now you might ask, Mikey, how would someone admitting to doing the murders break the game? She just gave you the answer. She just confessed the crimes, right? Well, the issue is you cannot even accuse her in the game. It's not an option. You go to the accusation page, you're not even going to see her there. You can't select any of the police. You can't select the librarian. Like, it's basically the game's way of letting you know you fucked up. And, yeah, I didn't know. I thought I beat the game. Yeah, once I realized I couldn't select her, I was just like, I was Googling, I'm like, what the hell just happened? You know, she just told me what happened. Extremely convincing story. It was like 3 whole paragraphs of it. I mean, she was a coroner, so obviously she knows every single detail. So, yeah, I guess it shouldn't surprise me if anyone was gonna trick you, it's gonna be the one who did the autopsies, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that caused me to just take a little break, went to get some food, took a shower, came back, figured, alright, I had no idea what was going on. I needed help. So there's only 2 Steam guides for this game, you know, not a lot. But I didn't want the solution, I just wanted a hint. a little clue. So I'll pop those, put it over to spoiler tags a little bit. Not all of them, just I wanted to see what exactly the motive was, and that was enough for me to actually hit the solution of the game. I will not be going over the solution in this video. There are already videos that do that. Instead, I will be giving my final thoughts of the game. So, final thoughts for the Vaudeville Detective AI Whodunit game. I found it charming, yet flawed. However, I did enjoy it. The biggest pet peeves for me were some of the AI hallucinations throwing off my investigation. The poorly implemented notepad, which was... I stopped using it after maybe like half an hour. The really stiff facial animations and robotic voices. Those were some of my biggest annoyances, but they did not break the game for me. So, despite these flaws, I did in fact enjoy playing it. I put a surprising amount of hours in trying to solve these 3 murders / deaths. Maybe I'm a sucker for a good mystery. Maybe I just like role-playing AI because I'm lonely and single. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just excited to see where this tech will lead us into the future. At least in terms of gaming. Play it blind if you can. And if you ever get stuck, there's a Steam guide called Some Hints for Detective Martini. And if that doesn't help you, there's a 100% walkthrough and achievement guide that will also help. Also on Steam. Yeah. Hopefully RAM prices go back down soon so we can all enjoy more games like this in the future without feeling like we're supporting greedy corpos that are killing the planet and driving consumer PC parts out of the business. Buy this game if it interests you and support small devs. If you made it this far, I'd appreciate it if you followed me on Twitch and maybe this YouTube and maybe other socials. I don't really have any, but you know, I really appreciate that. I do try to play interesting games occasionally, and who knows, maybe you'll see me in the future with more videos. This took a really long time to make. I had to learn DaVinci Resolve for this because I've never edited a video before. So, first time for everything, right? Yep. That's about it for me, and I will see you around.
So when you wouldn't let me look at Maria's toes, it was because you were trying to cover up for yourself.
Yes. I was trying to hide the fact that I had bitten her. But it didn't seem matter now, did it? You found out anyway. I guess I should have just confessed from the beginning.
Yeah, you're not getting past me. I'm Detective Frickin' Martini, the greatest detective in the world. I don't know why I said that.
Oh dear. You think you were so clevered onto you? But you'll never be able to prove it. I'm a coroner, for goodness sake. I know all about death and the law, and I've covered my tracks too well. You'll never catch me.
Yeah, I don't like this. Can I arrest her right now before... How about this? I pretend none of this ever happened if you let me look at Maria's toes right now.
Oh dear.
Maniacally?
You really are desperate, aren't you? Fine. Look at her toes.
Oh my god.
But don't you think for a second that it will make any difference?